Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 3. The Shulamite sing about the beloved. She compares him to an apple tree. And she says, I sat down in his shade with great delight, and his fruit was sweet to my taste. So much that we can say in here. But the first thing that occurred in my heart today is the fact that she chose to sit in his shade. So I have a question for you. What is the shade that you are choosing to sit? And what is the shade you want to sit in 2023? Is it his shade? Is it the shade of Jesus? Or is it the shade of other lovers? In other words, where are you gonna put your trust and your rest? Where are you sitting your heart at? In his shade? Because when we sit in his shade, there is great delight. But if you sit in the shade of the economy of the country, or the shade of your own dreams and expectations and goals that you may be now, proposing in your heart for this new year, or your new resolution, or anything else, is not guaranteed. And not only that, there is no other shade that will bring great delight but the shade of Jesus, especially in the person of the bridegroom. And then she continues and she says, and his fruit was sweet to my taste. So when we sit in his shade, we experience great delight and we partake on the fruit of the Lord. That's where we can eat from him, because if there is a sitting, there is an eating. And when we eat of Jesus, there is no way, it's impossible not to experience his sweetness, because he is holy. He is so sweet. His fruit will always be sweet to our taste. So, as you continue to read here, you see, right now it's still talking about Shulamite. And she says, now he brought me to the banqueting house, and his banner over me was love. So you see the progression. It progresses from the shade to the banqueting house. So when we sit in the shade of the beloved with great delight and we partake of his fruit here, so you can see how there is a exchange, there is a fellowship, there is a communion, there is a experiencing of Jesus that we partake. And when we live a life of this experience, the next thing then that he invites us into is the banqueting house. So we go from the shade to the banqueting house. And what is it that we experience in the banqueting house? She says here, his banner over me is love. So now you're covered by love. Now the banner that you carry is love himself. Isn't it beautiful? So, what is your heart resolution for 2023? What do you desire? My heart for me and for you is that you desire this sickness of love that she has, that Shulamite has. A love that will cause you to be so sick of love that nothing else will satisfy. A sickness of love that won't be quenched, won't be satisfied in anything else, but in the shade, in the sitting of the shade, in the partaking of the sweetness of his fruit, in great delight, and in love. is sicknesses of love that is incurable. It's impossible to heal from it because it will consume every part of your being. A sicknesses of love that will cause you and I to be so dependent on Him, a leaning on the beloved, a greater leaning, a greater love, a greater dependency, a greater becoming one, a greater mixing with Him, greater union. So this is my desire for 2023, a sicknesses of love that will not be cured. And that's what I desire for you as well, because if we find this, you find everything else. Blessings in 2023. God help us to love Him more, to walk in these sicknesses of love.